I'm going to be sharing how I made this kaftan that I'm wearing. It's so beautiful. Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Ayomide and I am the face behind the numerous tutorials you're going to find on this channel. If you're new here, you are most welcome. I want to say a very big thank you to my subscribers and to those that keep on watching every content that I put on this channel. Thank you so much and thank you for always coming back. Today's tutorial is quite unique and quite different. I'm going to be sharing how I made this kaftan that I'm wearing. It's so beautiful and it has a keyhole that allows you to pass a belt through, and it also has a front drape that gives you that sophisticated, rich and look. If you haven't subscribed, kindly click on the subscribe button below and let's jump straight into this tutorial.
I'm using an Adire fabric for this Bubu dress and it is a total of 4 yards. I've got my pattern master right here with me. I have my chalk, my tailor's chalk, fabric scissors, and very importantly I also have my measuring tape. So now let's move on with this tutorial. The very first thing I'm going over to do is I'm going over to lay my fabric, and I'm using the floor. That's because my table is not wide enough. I've gone ahead to cut out 2 pieces of fabric that is 60 inches long and 60 inches wide. Although it is on fold, so what this means is that it is 60 inches long and 30 inches wide because it is on fold. To move on, I'm going to be starting with marking my neck width, and I'm using 2.5 inches for the neck width, and for the neck depth I'm going to be marking 1 inch for the back first of all, after which I'll go ahead and draw a round neckline for the back. But for the front, I will go ahead and proceed to mark a neck depth that was about 6-7 inches, though I altered this later on to my desired neck depth, and I'm using a V neckline for the front. So I have a round neckline for the back and a V neckline for the front. The next thing I'll mark is my shoulder to waist measurement. This is to help us locate where the keyhole would be placed. So I'm just going over to mark my shoulder to waist measurement and I'm drawing a line. So I just want you to follow the movement of my hand. After then I will mark a quarter of my waist measurement, which is 6.25. I'm going to be adding about 3 inches of extra ease allowance first of all, and then from that 3 inches of extra ease allowance I'm going to be coming upward by 1.5 inches so that I can be able to draw my keyhole. And from that 1.5 inch I will proceed and draw like an oval shape. So I'm just going over to mark another 2 inches to get like a square or like a box that will enable me to draw a circle shape or an oval shape that would serve as the keyhole for this gown. Bringing the camera closer, this mark right here is a quarter of my waist measurement, which I marked earlier. Then I added an additional 3.5 inches for ease allowance, after which I went ahead to draw an oval shape after the ease allowance that I marked that would serve as the keyhole. So this is what I just did. Moving on, I went ahead to draw in my shoulder slants as I do for other garments. So I marked about 1.5 inches away from the end of the fold and I drew in a slant. The next thing I'm going over to do is to mark my sleeve opening, and I'm using 10 inches because I want this to be really wide enough and free. After that, I marked 1 inch inward and I'm going to be taking that mark down. So that is where I'm going to be cutting through just to demarcate the sleeve opening. So guys, the next thing I will do is to cut out my keyhole, and to do that I'll make sure I grab my 4 fabric pieces. Remember, I have 2 fabrics on fold, and I'll go ahead and trim around the keyhole. So make sure you are trimming this for the 4 fabrics at the same time. You could pin around the oval shape you've drawn just to keep your fabrics in place. Grab your scissors and then trim around that opening to create your keyhole. Once I'm through with that, I'm going over to trim my neckline. I'm trimming the back first of all, after which I'm going to be picking just the first fabric piece to trim only for the front. So the one behind is for the back, while the fabric piece on top is for the front. Once I was through with that, I just went over to trim off along the shoulder slants and also along the sides. I'm done cutting, and here is what I have. Here is my fabric piece. So the next thing we are going to be doing is to stitch the keyhole together. At this point, you want to make sure that the right side of your fabric is facing you and you have the wrong sides of the fabric facing each other. So the right side of your fabric is facing you. Next, I'm going over to align my keyholes properly, just to be sure that they are in alignment, because this is also very important. After that, I will then go over and flip my fabric open just as I'm doing. Grab one keyhole and match it up to the other one in such a way that right sides of the fabric are facing each other and the wrong side is on the inside. So the trick is to grab two fabric pieces, the both of them, make sure that the right sides are facing each other and the wrong side, that's the rough part of the fabric, is going to be on the inside. In order to make this very easy, I would say that you should pin all through the entire keyhole so that when sewing on the machine, it's going to be very easy for you to sew. So that's just what I'm going over to do. I'm done pinning, and here is just what your keyhole would look like. This is it with just pins. You can see that the rough part would be on the inside. So guys, I would proceed to my sewing machine now to stitch this down. I would also do likewise for the other keyhole too. I'm done sewing the both of them down, and here is what my keyhole looks like. It looks neatly finished. We can see it on the back of the dress, and this is it on the inside, the rough part on the inside. You want to make sure that you notch properly so that you can easily iron. Okay, so guys, this is what it looks like. The next thing is to create the drape. And in order to create the drape, I'm going to be grabbing my tape, and right from the shoulder I would measure about 31 inches downward, and I will pinch my fabric at that point, only the front fabric, and bring it up to about 22 inches. After which I'm going to be securing that with a pin. I'll proceed to my sewing machine and sew that down only on the front. You don't want to stitch it also on the back so that you don't lock your fabric together. So I'm just going over to pin it down, then I'm going to be sewing it just on the front. So this was how I created the drape. To finish off the neckline, I'm going to be using facings, and I've gone ahead to cut out facing for both the front and also for the back. I also ironed in interfacing on both of them. Once I'm through with that, I will stitch along the shoulder and also stitch along the sides and also hem the down part of this dress, and that will be the end of this tutorial. Guys, this is the outcome of the dress. Yes, I'm finally done. I went ahead to create a belt for the keyhole, and look at the drape. This is the outcome of the drape. For this dress, I exhausted the entire 4 yards of fabric. It was really big and really flowing, but I love the freedom that this dress granted me when I wore it. This is also the back. I knotted the belt to the back. You could knot yours to the front, but I just decided to knot this to the back for a different method. So guys, if you found this tutorial helpful, make sure you give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, kindly click on the subscribe button below. And until my next tutorial, guys, take good care of yourself.